My question to you is, are you choosing the wrong line? The God of the universe loves us beyond measure and wants to be our friend. He desires to share with each of us a unique, unbreakable bond. This is First Things First, a devotional podcast where for 365 days, first thing each morning, we are going to be getting to know God better. We're going to be seeking His daily will for our lives and seeing how best we can seek first His kingdom. In short, we'll be putting first things first. Good morning, and welcome back to part 4 of our Caleb Was Strong Enough to series. I'm your host, Melissa Sewell, and this is First Things First. We're going to read our core text. If you have not watched parts 1, 2, or 3, I would recommend doing so to get context of our series as we're in part 4. Joshua 14 verse 11 says, Caleb says these words, "As yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war both to go out and to come in." Let's have a word of prayer before we begin. Father in heaven, thank you for today. I pray that as we explore your word today, that you will strengthen us, enable us to be in the minority with you. Make us brave soldiers for you. In Jesus' name, amen. It takes numbers to make things happen. Hence, we have sayings like the more the merrier. I think whoever coined that phrase, they probably did their big one, because the phrase the more the merrier is actually attached to another phrase. So in its entirety, the saying is the more the merrier, the fewer the better fare. Meaning, the more people that gather together, the more fun it probably will be. On the flip side, the fewer people there are, the more there is for each person to consume. So there are pros and cons to being amongst a lot of people or being amongst a little group of people. In Jamaica, I grew up hearing, and I'll translate after, too much rat can dig one hole, meaning too many rats can't dig a hole or even a good hole. And it basically conveys the idea that when too many people are involved in something, it can be spoiled sometimes. I also grew up hearing one hand can't clap, meaning it takes two hands to clap. One hand can't clap by itself. Sociologists and psychologists have been extensively researching the impact of belonging or being in a group. We have minority ethnicities based on numbers, and that has beneficial as well as vulnerabilities that come along with being among such a group. In the context of what Caleb experienced, and if you haven't watched, you can go back to parts 1 to 3 so you can get context. Caleb's experience brings to my mind notions of peer pressure, FOMO, fear of missing out, groupthink, and other influences that come from being in a group. Solomon Asch, a sociologist in the 1950s, did an experiment on groupthink to explore conformity. Growing up as a child, he grew up in a religious household, and on the eve of a religious event or day, he asked his grandparents why they poured wine into a glass where no one sat, and he was told that the wine was poured for a prophet who would consume the drink. And so he watched the glass of wine all night to see if it would move. And in his mind, he thought, with no one sipping from the cup, no one sitting at the table, he thought he saw the wine in the glass diminish. And as a sociologist, he wanted to know the impact that a group had on our perception of reality, how peers influence our perception. And so he did a study on a university campus. He got 123 white male college students who were told that they were going to be doing a visual test, and they were placed in groups of 6 to 8. Initially, the experimenters told the participants to identify a line that was of the same length to a line in a group of lines. So they were shown one line and told to identify another line that was the same length as that line. And in the first round, everyone got the lines correct. They chose the correct line. Then they shuffled the groups and placed people in each group to influence the group by choosing a wrong line, a line that did not correlate with the length of the line in subject. Are you following? Right. So they were supposed to choose a line that was not of similar length, or not similar, the exact length of the line in question. And what Solomon Asch found is that when as little as 3 people chose the wrong line before someone who was not told to choose the wrong line, that person was obviously naive and obviously being influenced by the group. That person 75% of the times chose the wrong line as well. It's not that they had cognitive disabilities. It's not that they didn't understand what was being asked of them, because before they would have chosen the correct line. But now, because there was added pressure and influence from the group, they chose the wrong line. And my question to you is, are you choosing the wrong line? You're in your right mind and you know what is right, what is wrong. Do you sometimes find yourself choosing the wrong lines because of peer pressure, group think, or the fear of missing out? That's how society is at times. We can be easily influenced by what we see, what others say, because we just don't want to be the odd one out, or we're just easily influenced. Wherever you fall on the influential spectrum, I want us to be like Caleb. Though Caleb was outnumbered, he didn't mind being in the minority with God. And with God, we are in a major minority. If it's just us and God, we are in a major minority. When you're with God, no matter who opposes you, you are in major minority. It does take numbers to get things done. Yes, it does. But God can do everything and anything. And so if you affiliate yourself, if you choose to stand with God, though you may be outnumbered numerically, the ability that lies in God, the sum of the human race cannot compare to it. Caleb was strong enough to be in the minority with God. When everyone else said, no, we can't, Caleb said, yes, we can. And this is not a political advertisement. The we that Caleb spoke of was not just him and the Israelites saying, oh my gosh, if you guys join me, then as we grow our numbers, we can defeat the Canaanites. No. He meant with God, we can. And so my prompt for us is to, like Caleb, understand that we are not missing out when we stand with God. But when we stand against God, we miss out on experiences His rich promises. So today, stick to being in the major minority if that means that you stand with God. Stand with your God. And my song prompt for today is Stand by John P. Kee. Thank you so much for joining in today. Remember, as always, to put first things first. We will close this series on Sunday. Tomorrow is Sabbath, Saturday, so we're going to be doing something rest related, or just a small nugget. But the fact of the matter is, the last edition of Caleb Was Strong Enough to will be on Sunday, and then we will close. Remember, as always, to put first things first.